Hi, I'm David Lee. Welcome again to another episode of Culinary Capers here at Shell Point. Today what I want to do is share a very special recipe with you that a dear friend, actually the lady who stood up for us, the matron of honor for our wedding, shared with me many years ago. I'm not going to say how many, for her homemade mustard. Mustard, you say? I hope I'll intrigue you to think, well, maybe I should try this. And actually at another time, she's got me inspired. Now I'm making some other types of mustard. But it's a unique mustard, one that everybody who samples it says, wow, I've never tasted anything like this. So I wanted to share it with you today. Take a deep breath now and I'll show you how Jane's mustard comes together. So our ingredient list for today is, for the recipe I'm talking about, 1 cup of regular powdered mustard. You can get it at Publix. You've heard me talk about this before. The mail order company Penzi Spice. I really enjoy their products and they're very reasonably priced. So 1 cup of the powder, 1 cup of malt vinegar, which I think is probably the secret ingredient here. It's the first time I've ever seen malt vinegar used in a recipe for mustard. And then it includes 3 eggs, and it includes 1 cup of sugar. And the final ingredient is just a lot of stirring. So let's get going and we'll put it together for you here. Now, I will say that I just shared the recipe with you, which will be online, but when I make it, I triple the recipe just because I like to take this as housewarming presents to people and our friends. I have a bunch of friends that love it. So we're tripling the recipe here today. So we have 3 cups of the mustard. And then we're going to do 3 cups There's my other cup. Now we want to stir it real well and get all the lumps out. I find the whisk is the best thing to use here. The recipe that I shared with you with 1 cup will actually make 3 5 or 6 ounce jars, which is just enough for you and to share with a friend. Jane taught me we need to let this rest for at least 3 hours. It's better if we let it rest overnight. So this one's going to go to sleep, and tomorrow I'll make another batch. But for our show today, I started one yesterday, and I know Dan will scan in here, and you can see that it starts to bubble a little bit, and that's what you want to see. Now I will say I've experimented and let it rest for 2 days, and you can smell the flavor here a little bit, and it makes it tangier. But my wife likes it resting 1 day. So now we have this rested for a day, and we want to add our sugar. And so it's 1 cup of sugar if you're doing a single batch. And I've already cracked 6 of them. And Jane tells me to beat the eggs before I put them in. So now we're going to put those in. Then we're going to start stirring this around and mixing it up. And I should add that when you're working with mustard, always use stainless steel or wood. But I prefer stainless steel. Okay, now that we've got that somewhat incorporated, we're going to go and heat it up. So let's go over to the stove. Now this is what takes a little time, because we want to heat this up until it's real bubbling. And as Jane taught me, you want to stir constantly. Okay, I don't know if you can make it out, but now it's just starting to thicken up and just starting to boil. And now's when we want to make sure we really stir it so we don't scald the bottom. You can just begin to see some big bubbles come up. Now what I learned from Jane is coming to a boil, but what we want is rolling a boil as we can get. And so what I've sort of learned over time in making this is I want to stir and boil this thing until it starts to splatter on my jackets. And some people, why do I wear this jacket? Because every shirt I own seems to have a stain in it. And at least with this jacket, I can put it in the washer with some bleach. But look at, see the nice, we're getting a nice boil now. I just want to stop here so you can see that. That's getting to where we want it. Just another minute or two and we're going to call it done. So now we're going to shut this off. Look at that. Okay, now we'll get it off the heat. Now, ahead of time I prepared some jelly jars, and some of my friends saved me jars. Like I said, the batch I shared with you will make 3, so this batch will make 9 since I tripled the recipe. So we're ready to put it in the jars. I got them all washed and ready to go, but I'm going to let that cool at least for an hour or 2. So here is the finished product, and as soon as we're done, it cools down, we jar it, and we'll put it in the refrigerator. And I like to make the 9 batches because when I go to people's house, it's a nice little thing to bring. And it's a wonderful flavor. Oh, wow. I now put this on ham sandwiches. Margie puts it in when she's making deviled eggs. Any place you use ham, it'll just add a different flavor. I even use this to make a salad dressing. So anyway, that's Jane's recipe for her mustard. And what a beautiful friend Jane has been to me, and it was fun to share this with you and fun for me to think about our dear friend Jane. May she rest in peace. Thanks again for being with me today, and that's it. Bye now.